Yes, now we're recording.
That's
It's okay,
right.
there's no real difference. This is Thought Anthology episode something, I don't know. I've got Josh T.
Josh
Trefane.
Joshua Trefane.
I'm pretty certain it's working anyway. So I bring you here today to talk about running again from the same as last time. So
a lot has happened last.
A lot has happened.
Yes.
Should we start with like what happened with Port Ferry?
Yes, I think that's a good place to start off. Actually,
So Port Ferry, you had to pull out.
Yes,
Why did you pull out?
I pulled out because I had an injury.
Yeah.
I had a Melbourne trip before, about a week before,
Mm.
and then I came back and I had very fresh legs because I didn't run for like 2-3 days.
Yeah.
And I was driving down pretty much the whole way. So I was like, I felt really good, and I felt like I wanted to do a 5k PB.
Yeah.
At night.
Yeah.
And I think I ran too fast and I injured. I still don't know what it is. I still got to go to a physio.
Yeah.
I had a physio booked in, but I cancelled it.
Yeah.
Somewhere like here, and it made it to where I couldn't even run at like an almost walking pace for more than 5 seconds without feeling it. And I felt that for like 3-4 days. So
You're bleak.
I was a bitch, and I pulled out.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. The
And-
race was good though. It was really nice.
Yes.
The scenery was very nice.
I heard you said it was a very scenic sort of race. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, really worthwhile for sure. But then after that, you started training properly. So what happened with all that? So you got an actual proper trainer.
So Mrs. Who used to race with, her name's Izzy Bat Doyle. When she was young, they both actually raced together, like competed against each other in like the 3Ks, the steeplechases and stuff like that. I think she talks to her on and off.
Yeah.
Not much, but every now and then. She was talking to her, and she told me that she has this coaching group called Runners One.
Yeah.
And pretty much they offer programs for anyone. So you could have zero running experience, and they'll offer a program for you. You just basically say what you want, basically tell them what your best times are. Even if you don't have any, you would say, oh, nothing.
Yeah.
And they create a program around you and what your goals are. And even if you're not there, so even for people, because they're in Adelaide, even if you're in Mildura, they'll give it to you online, like via a PDF, and you can just read it. And it's actually really good. It's really detailed with how they do it. Like every session you have, it says how out of 10 how much you're supposed to feel it. So if it's like a 5 out of 10, it's medium. If it's 10 out of 10, it's like you got to feel really exhausted.
Yeah.
I think it's called the RPE, rate of perceived exhaustion or something like that.
Rate of perceived exertion.
Yeah. I got into that, and that was really good because one of the things I was struggling with was sort of like just having some sort of schedule.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was good because I needed a schedule, and I needed like proper, paces and stuff to practice and do, not just go out, I'll do a random 10K, a random 5K, a random 10K, a random 5K. Yeah. And I wasn't doing them like with different RPEs. I was just most of the time I was just either really relaxed or, a PB sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that was all over the place. But that really helped me. Her name, Izzy Bat Doyle. They're really good there, and not only that, but they also talk to you as well.
Yeah.
So you can ask them questions straight over social media, and they'll respond. They're actually really good. It's just like having a coach, like having a coach you go to and talk to and stuff like that, and they answer any questions about injuries and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that really helped. And ever since doing that, that's really put like a good schedule into my running, and that's really helped a lot. I haven't been like 100% on schedule. Like I got injured again in like my second month of doing it, and it was like
your foot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was my foot, and I've had a bunch of problems with when I bought my new shoes, fitting into them, and now I'm finally sorted out where they're really nice shoes, and that's another subject to get into, but the back of them, if you're not wearing like the socks I'm wearing right now, are like, I think they're called sockettes.
Yeah.
And these are really nice socks because they let your foot breathe.
Yeah.
And they're really lightweight.
Yeah.
So I used to wear these with my nooses, my Tri-13s, all the time.
Yeah.
But with my new ones, I can't because there's like a place on here with my Vaporflies that like rubs against it.
Yeah.
And even wearing it once with these in like more than 5Ks, I'll notice it, and it'll just be bleeding like no other.
Back of your heel,
Yeah. So I got padded socks pretty much, still
Yeah.
padded exercise socks, and that solved that problem. And then also, only this toe I was having trouble with was rubbing up against the side of it constantly,
Yeah.
making so much pain. And not only was this toe rubbing up against the side of it, it was also rubbing against the toe next to it.
Yeah.
So I found this thing which was the perfect solution. No need for band-aids or anything. It's absolutely crazy. The toe socks, and they're in the inside is gel. It's like perfect.
Really?
It's like if there was someone handcrafted a solution specifically for the problem I was having.
Yeah.
Was that before I was using the stupid corn pads and putting them. I was like, oh, it's annoying. I have to replace these every single time I run.
Yeah.
But I've got that same. It's probably smelly as hell.
Yeah.
That same gel stock I've had for over 2-3 months now.
Yeah.
Almost perfect.
Yeah. So what sort of are they expensive? Like the brand you have? Or
Of like shoes or
no,
like
the socks?
Oh no, they're like actually. For such a little thing, I think they're like $15-20.
Ah, okay.
It's just like a little thing you put over like your toe. So you just get one off, and
like
even just
ring.
one is just like $20.
Alrighty, so like little cock rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's like a little condom for your toe. Exactly what it is. Yeah, it looks really weird. And look, honestly, even the inside of it, like. Who knows what some people have thought of
people
doing.
probably have done.
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Yeah, nefarious things with it. No, awesome. Okay, so and then with all this training and after the injuries and stuff, then you ended up doing the Barossa Valley, which is in South Australia.
Yes.
How'd that run? It was only a half marathon.
That was my first official half marathon. Like Port Fairy was your first official.
Yeah.
And that was great. That actually went pretty much exactly. I didn't think it would go exactly how I expected it to go, which was crazy, or exactly how I sort of wanted it to go. So, in my coaching plan, my coach, or you sort of have two coaches, but the coaches put on there that my time would be 1:40.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to be exactly that, it's give or take.
Yeah.
And my end time ended up being 1:37.
Yeah.
So
which is pretty good. That's
yeah.
pretty good
Well, I was so happy. I was so happy with that because I wanted to get under 140 was my goal.
Yeah.
I was like, as long as I get under 140, I'll be so happy. Mon's time was like 1:33, I think she said.
Yeah, when she was like.
Yeah, 18. I think 18.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I'm probably never gonna beat that. Or like, no, I'm not never gonna beat that, but I definitely won't beat it this time.
Yeah.
I thought like maybe next year.
Yeah.
Even though it's like 4 minutes difference, it's like it's a lot if you think about pace wise. Like 4 minutes, like because even 10-20 seconds in your pace per k is like can be a big difference if you're doing it for 20 k's.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was still very happy with it. But usually I always need to go to the toilet when I'm running all the time. I feel it in my stomach at almost every single training session.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not as bad as other times, but this time I didn't feel it once. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I ate a lot before. I ate like 2 of the worst. What sandwiches were they? They were like these chicken schnitzel sandwiches.
Yeah.
The worst sandwiches I ever had in my life. Across from from the gas station.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! And then a donut. It was the weirdest pre-race.
And you didn't cheat yourself.
Yeah, I didn't.
That's
it's
good.
crazy. I woke up so early.
Yeah.
I put all the coffee things that I had in the hotel in the coffee. So so I could be like bowels move, get all the shit out. And the toilet line. Did you go to the toilet before the Port Fairy at all?
Yeah, I did. And I went during as well.
I heard you went during as well.
I can't remember if I should have peed, but it took us some time. So yeah, I definitely went.
Did you go close to the start of the race?
It was halfway through. It was after the 10K.
Before?
Like before, it was close to the race before I went.
Yeah, was there like, when I went, it was like, I think it was like 15 minutes beforehand, and the line was like way out the door of people people wanting to go to the toilet.
It was the same as well for Port.
Yeah, it was a massive line.
Everyone just taking a minute of shit. Yeah.
Everyone wants to get out of this system. It was funny because you go into the toilet and then like everyone's just silent waiting in line.
Yeah.
All people are just taking shits in the toilet.
God.
And then it's stressful because you're like, oh, quickly get it through so then the other guy can go.
I had so many awkward experience. I had an awkward experience for when I did True Grit, which is that it's that military obstacle course.
Yeah.
Which is a 10K military obstacle course. So like I opened the door and I caught somebody peeing and made them shit themselves. So they didn't lock the door properly. It was the most embarrassing moment I've ever seen. Yeah.
Wait, so you caught them?
Yeah, I opened it, made it. Yeah, it was horrible. Anyway, as you were saying, yeah.
Oh god! So they didn't lock the door properly.
No,
Then?
they didn't. No.
Oh, that's their fault then.
It was quite awkward.
Yeah.
But I quickly closed it straight away. But they didn't say a single thing to me when they walked out. So
well, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. So how do you feel about your performance?
Good. Very good. I will admit I'm slightly disappointed. I shouldn't be disappointed because the weather was perfect.
Yeah.
So the weather was like almost as perfect as could get. The thing is, there was one thing I didn't do right, which was I wore too much. I prepared for super cold temperature sort of thing. I had a beanie.
Yeah.
I had a long sleeve t-shirt. I had a jump. Oh no, I didn't actually have my jumper. I had a long sleeve t-shirt. I had skins, and then I had shorts, and I think I also had gloves as well. So I was like super prepared that it was going to be cold, even because when I wake up at 6 in the morning, even after my run, I'm still cold, or even halfway in between, I'm still cold. Which that was a mistake because 8 a.m. is when the race started, and the sun was already up by then.
Yeah.
So it was already hot like 3Ks in. Like I was already warmed up. Like I could have been, if I was in like a singlet and shorts, and like no beanie. The beanie was probably one of the worst things because not only does it make your head really hot, but it gives you headaches and stuff as well. And I wasn't even dehydrated. It was so weird. I'll ask you this. After I tell you, like, I wasn't really thirsty throughout the entire race. It's so weird. I was still stopping for water breaks because I was like, oh, I probably should anyway.
Yeah.
But I really wasn't thirsty at all. I always keep myself hydrated. But even still, it was just odd because I thought like, I thought I would be like actually thirsty. Yeah. Were you very thirsty when you did the Port Fairy?
Brandon, I didn't really feel thirsty. I don't know, like, I'm trying to think. I craved a sweet drink when I was running.
Oh, really?
I didn't really crave, like, water.
Did they have, like, the energy drinks there?
Stamina.
Yeah. Did you have that when you were running?
I had that when I was running. Because, like, it wasn't like I was super thirsty. I just really was, like, craving something sweet. Yeah, because I had no, like, energy drinks or anything with me all while I was running. Yeah,
that's fair.
So, I don't know. I can't recall thirst too much. But when you're, like, when it's cool weather and it's pretty moist and it's not dry air, like you feel fine.
Yeah,
usually.
Actually maybe that's why. Maybe it's because I was used to running in like the heat.
Yeah, because
I always used to run in the afternoon in the heat.
Yeah, because here is so hot and dry.
Yeah,
like, you feel thirsty straight away.
Yeah, no, maybe you're right. Maybe because I used to always drink in preparation to that, and I'm still drinking in preparation to that. Where instead it's in the morning where it's cold and you don't dehydrate as quick. So that probably, if it was in the afternoon, it would be probably a completely different story.
Maybe, yeah.
But I had those gel thingies. So I think
I want to buy.
Yeah.
Which I need to buy today.
They're so good. I was I think I had 3 in total. I think it was 1 pre-race. So you're supposed to take it like 10-15 minutes beforehand.
Yeah.
And the adrenaline you have when you're in like in line where with everyone else, and like it's a big army of people waiting to just get out and run.
Yeah.
Is pretty cool. But I had one then, and then I put 2 in my pockets. So I think I had one, the 10K mark, and then another the 15K mark.
Yeah.
But I was like, it felt so weird. It felt like, not because of how well it boosts you, but it just felt weird. It felt like I was doing something like illegal. Like I was taking drugs. Because I was like taking something out of my pocket and ripping it and like,
Yeah.
So I sort of felt like, oh, it's a bit dodgy, but man, does it help so much. I'm surprised there weren't any of those like you could grab or anything because it makes so much of a difference.
Probably because they're expensive.
Oh,
they're like $2 a bag, and if you imagine if you had like 500 people.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's way too expensive for all the people.
Where like Stamina, you could buy like 10.
You buy it in bulk of the
powder.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, like I was looking at the chemist, like $2.30, $2.50. Bought a box would be pretty expensive.
Yeah, no, you're right. But God, did it? I think it was the best I felt. I actually should have probably went and looked at my splits more.
Yeah.
But I felt really good. I think it was like 12 Ks in, 13 Ks in. I had this surge of energy for 5 Ks. 5-6 Ks. I just had a surge where I felt like, I especially felt like I was flying because I already knew I did 12 Ks.
Yeah.
And I knew it was at like the hardest point. Like when you get to 13 Ks, in your head you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Barely over, I'm barely over halfway.
Yeah, you got 8 Ks left.
Yeah, exactly. And even though it's a race and you know it's like, okay, this is a one thing, you know, just after this I can relax. And even that I didn't have in my system, right? Because I had to drive after that race straight away. I had to drive home 4 hours.
Yeah.
So even though it's driving home and you're in the car, right, and you're sitting down, it's still my left leg was hurting like a motherfucker throughout that whole.
Yeah.
You can't really relax because like you know you have to pay attention to the road and all that sort of shit. But no, those things definitely make a difference. And even me, like I have caffeine, like 3 cups of coffee a day, I reckon, on average.
Yeah.
And I'll imagine like the less caffeine and energy you have daily, the more it would like affect you. I guess because like if you're having those things every day,
you build up a tolerance.
Yeah, you build up a tolerance.
It's a drug. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm like, I only ever want to use them in races or for PBs.
Yeah.
And I actually cracked one open for a PB the other day. Gave me super energy, but then like I think I was telling you before, my bowels did not agree. It was just so weird because I had all this energy and I felt like I could go super duper fast. Yeah. But then I was like, if I go any faster, I'm just gonna shit myself. Yeah. So I ended up stopping halfway at my parents' house. Yeah. Went to the toilet and then I ran back. Yeah. I was so sad. It was weird because I was sad, but I was like, man, if I didn't need to, I would have probably ran a PB. Yeah. But it was actually good. Another thing that happened is 2Ks out. I think it was roughly 2Ks out. About 2Ks out. I got that. So you know that pain that I was telling you about that I couldn't go to Port Fairy for. It was pretty much an exact replica of that. Yeah. About 2Ks out, maybe 1.5Ks out, and it was like pretty much if I didn't have all the adrenaline and knowing that like, oh man, like you can't walk now. If you walk now, you'll be like 1:45 or whatever, and that's like you'll be disappointed on the way home. Yeah. And I still would have been happy, but knowing that would have a stitch at the last minute, causing me to walk, causing me to have a much worse time. I was so annoyed, but I managed to run through it, and I think I still ran like a pretty good pace through it. I think I still ran like a 5K pace through like 1.5 to 2Ks. Yeah. Which I was happy for, but oh man, like when that was happening, I was like, use all my power and energy to get through it, and you could tell it was funny because. The way it works is when you're running back down, there are also people running upwards. Yeah. So you're looking at people running, and I was like this. I was actually like holding it like this, and I was like, you could see my facial expressions, and I could see people looking at me, like judging me, but I did not care. You get into that zone where you're like, I don't care how ridiculous it makes me look. Anything to stop the pain and to make me, go faster or to tolerate going at a pace where I can finish on time. Yeah. You just do that. You and usually I'm pretty like, I care about what people think. Yeah. But this I was like, nah, I don't care. I know I look terrible. I had my beanie in one hand as well. And if I have my beanie on for my head for ages, my hair goes all thin. I look bald. Okay. I'm already bald. Yeah. So I was like, man, I'm just gonna do this, like waddle along. And I got there, and I think the last 300 meters I had like a burst of energy, and I just sprinted all the way to the finish line. It was a good feeling. Yeah. Because I think there was about 600 people in the Barossa half marathon. I think I was like 117th. I think it was, or 107th. Yeah. That was pretty good at the and what I actually really liked. Did Port Fairy have groups that had pace markers? Like, did you have people to follow for paces at all? Nah. Because it sort of helped with actually did help a lot with Barossa Valley. People had balloons tied to their back. Yeah. And then on the balloon it said like 140, meaning if you follow them all the way to the end, you would end the marathon in 1 hour and 40 minutes. Yeah. So I knew if I was ahead of that guy, I was definitely going to finish in under my time that I wanted to finish in. Mm. And I broke away from that group pretty early, and I was happy with that. But it's really hard not running with a group. Yeah. Really hard. Like, when you're doing Port Fairy, did you run with a group much, or was it more your own?
More of my own. Like, it was really tempting to run with people, but because I was worried about my knee the entire time, so like I had to be very careful. So like I hung back for a long time. Yeah. But then once I found out my knee was fine, I started picking up the pace. I didn't really try to follow anyone. I just tried to beat everyone that was in front of me. But then it got to the point where like I couldn't do that anymore because my knee actually came back in. Yeah. And fuck, it was just hurting so much near the end. Yeah. But I got through it anyway. But yeah, no, I didn't really follow a group. I just tried to beat everyone that was in front of me when I could.
It's funny that when you're running, you're like, I know about you, but like you gain such a like superiority.
superiority
complex. Yeah. Like, and you're like, I could be like, what's this person doing in front of me? Like, I can just pass you right now, or something like that. And then you see people that are like, twice your age, or like their running form is like some bizarre.
It's just like something that's not practiced.
It's like something like they have like these non-practical. I'm not like, it's just their running form looks very abnormal, is what I would say. Obviously, I'm not going to judge it. If they're beating me, then whatever they're doing is working. But you know what I mean? Like, you have, I think, who was in front of me most of this time? I reckon it was this 45-year-old woman, very thin, and she was running like very like center of mass, like, and then like very short cadence.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I'm getting beaten by this person, and it really makes you. It's so crazy because running's like one thing where it's like, you can never tell, like, obviously bodybuilding and strength and stuff, you can always tell just by the sight of how good someone is on it. But running, it's like, you really can't. Like, there can be someone that's thin and looks athletic or whatever, but they can't run for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then there can be some, like, old person that, doesn't look very athletic at all, and they can just easily outrun you by far.
Yeah. With her short cadence, it's probably because she doesn't have enough mobility.
Oh, would that be it?
Maybe. Because, like, I actually remember, I was watching a video in regards to like mobility and running, and actually having less mobility makes you a better runner.
Really?
You have more spring in your step.
Oh,
it's like, because if you're more mobile, you're more flexible and more able to move your joints.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're more rigid and you're more like spring-like and rigid, you're more likely to be able to do that.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So like you see a lot of runners who are very stiff-legged.
And, that actually makes much more sense.
Yeah.
So obviously the more like stiff you are, the more it acts like a spring. Yeah, and the more like loose you are, it's like
less like a spring.
Damn.
So like that's for running. Like and like maybe her short cadence. Like I remember I can't remember his name, but there's a triathlon like athlete who would just say that like long strides can actually result in like the knee injury over a long period of time, because once you extend out further, your leg's starting to extend out and it starts to heel strike, which results in that force coming up onto the knee. Whereas when you land on that mid-foot to like forefoot strike, it becomes more like a spring to the body as well. So that short stride actually encourages that spring-like, the natural mechanics of the leg.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So like that, because the ankle to the knee to the hip ends up becoming like a spring. Which is probably why she was running like that, and probably why she's really efficient.
That makes so much more sense now. That's crazy.
Because if she's like, and also like if she's not moving her upper body too much, she's using less energy, and if she's just focusing on the leg movement for that long distance, she's using less energy. She's keeping up a tempo, and she's also using her mechanics more wisely.
That is actually crazy.
Yeah, but I could be wrong.
No, honestly, that sounds like it's like 100% what it probably is.
Yeah,
because you see a lot of people like, or not a lot of people, like a lot of people like that. Explain it.
Yeah, but like if it looks weird where she's like fully rotating, or something, that's weird.
Yeah.
The one thing I like with the judging thing, the one thing I do that is absolutely horrible is like when I see somebody with a huge beer gut.
Yeah.
I don't see them like in like a. I can't say like a negative light, but I'm like, you shouldn't be running.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be running 21 Ks when you weigh 120 kilos or something like that.
Yeah.
Because like you're gonna have a knee injury or like you're just waiting to see an injury.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like to Caitlin at Port Fair, I'm like, that guy shouldn't be running 21 Ks. He's gonna hurt himself.
Yeah.
Because that's so horrible for them. Like if you haven't trained at all and you're just running that.
Dude. Yeah. Like if you I don't know about. You probably wouldn't know because you've been probably active most of your life. But with me, when I started actually running last year, my knees, for the first month, I reckon, that's what was always going was my knees. Like I had literally just runner's knee.
Yeah.
My knees just getting used to, I mean, it was always on the treadmill.
Yeah.
But, oh man, they were sore. And like I was like a healthy weight.
Yeah.
I could not imagine someone even just being overweight running for the first time, what it would do to their knees.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy, stupid.
Yeah.
Just insane.
Because you could ruin yourself for life.
Yeah.
Like you have people who are like, I have bad knees. Why? Because I ran a marathon at 100 kilos. It's like, well, that's a smart idea.
Yeah.
Like and also like they do it without the training, because running like is an impact sport. Because you're impacting your legs continuously. You have to have your joints and your bones strengthen up, because if you haven't ran before. For the reason why I get knee injuries is basically because of, I think it's partly previous injury Also because I've been doing probably overtraining probably a little bit too much. I reckon it's from overtraining.
Yeah.
And because when I did Buffalo Stampede, I think it was also new terrain.
Yeah.
Because or maybe I re-injured something. I don't know.
Have you been to a physio?
No, I'm not gonna spend that money.
How much is a physio?
Probably a fair bit.
I was asking Mon this. Mon actually booked me into a physio like a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I didn't end up going. Not because. Oh, and I think I remember asking about the money, and I forgot what she said. I think she said just go and see how much it is.
Yeah.
And I was booked in and everything, and I think I was just busy or something because she booked it on a work day, and I think work came up. But I wanted to go just for the sore factors. I wanted that thing, at least know what it was and know, because next time I do a half marathon, if that comes in halfway through my marathon, I'm just fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been meaning to actually go to a physio or something.
Yeah.
Get it checked out, but I didn't know about that money situation because I'm not in the Mildura Health Fund or anything like that.
Maybe you need to ease into some strength training or something. For yourself. Maybe it's just a weak muscle.
Actually, I was gonna ask my coach that. The couple things I wanted to ask her was one, warm up stuff, because I was talking to you about this. What was it early this morning? Yeah, it feels crazy. That was
we went for a run this morning.
Yeah. And then the other thing was strength training. If it benefits, can I do strength training on the same days I run, or interchange or anything like that?
Yeah. Kipchoge strength trains twice a week, I think.
Oh, really?
Or something like that. I don't know. But just to keep his muscles strong. But he's not an Olympian.
He's a really down to earth guy. That guy.
You reckon? I haven't seen any videos about him besides
I've seen one video, and that's probably.
And that's your judgment.
I probably shouldn't judge him off one video.
Yeah.
But it was one of those videos where it was they interview celebrities and like, what are these 6 things that you have to keep on your your 6 favorite things. Yeah. They can be any sorts of objects your certain shoes or .
Yeah.
But his was one of his was a pen and paper and some of his favorite music is from Kelly Clarkson and all this sort of stuff. It was crazy. He was a really genuine nice guy, and he's really humble dude, really cool dude. Beat him one day.
You reckon? He's that's an insane level running.
Yeah.
Imagine running sub 2 hour marathon.
Dude, it's just
that's a 59 minute half marathon.
Absolutely crazy that it's I don't know.
Yeah.
And you think about some of the PBs for that have only been set in the past, because that PB was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
6 years ago, I think.
Those were paces, yeah.
Yeah. No. So imagine shoes are only getting better.
Yeah.
Equipment's only getting better.
Training's getting better. Our
ability to assess people's health. In 50 years, what is it going to be a sub 150? It's
there probably will be athletes.
And it'll be 1 second.
Yeah, that'd be insane. Imagine that we get people to do sub 150.
Yeah,
marathon. That'd be insane. Yeah, that'd be so quick.
I know, and it's funny, but people don't understand unless you run and unless you I'm not saying this to be elitist or anything, but unless you're running, you do it even casually. You don't understand how actual fast that is. Even his PB, how actual fast that is to run that fast for even 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's
a 240 pace, isn't it?
It's some ridiculous 240, 250, something like that.
That's an insane speed.
There are people that could run that for more than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And he can do it for 2 hours. And even people that can run, there was this video this guy did who was fit, and I think his best 5K, he's about our level. I think his best 5K was 19 minutes or something like that. And he was doing a video on it, and it was actually I think the video had 1 million views.
Yeah.
And it was a really good video on how actually fast it is, and that he he could barely keep up with that marathon pace for a minute, I think it was.
How fast would that be for 5K? 240. It'd be under 15 minutes.
Oh, 240, it would be
because 3 minutes, 3 times 5, that's going to end up being 15 minutes. Yeah, this will be under 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's insanely quick.
I think the world record for 5K is
12 and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang.
That's quick. I think it's 12 and a half.
I remember seeing somewhere it was like 12.5, 12.40 or something.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was a recent one.
Imagine being able to sustain that pace that long and get that far. Those are people who like train specifically for running.
Yeah, that's true.
Just running, they're useless in every other department. Like all you can do is run. Like
it would be funny to like put them in another sport.
Go to shot put.
It's funny when you watch the Olympics, like track and field, and you see like the runners and then the shot putters.
Yeah.
And you look at the shot putters like, because at first when I was watching just running with mine, and I was like, what the hell? Like, what are those people doing?
Yeah.
Because they're like big. They're actually like
massive people.
They're fat people, you know. They're big, they're large people, and you think this is crazy. These people are like in, you know, actual sports.
Yeah.
Things.
Well, being having that mass helps them out so much. Like they have not just like they do have a high body fat percentage, but they're also really muscular.
Yeah.
Like and being that heavy, but also being explosive. Like with that mass, you're rotating or however they do it. And, you know, the jump back skip where they've got this momentum going. They weigh like 110 kilos or whatever.
Yeah.
110 kilos in momentum, exploding backwards and throwing like a ball. That's going to result in a further distance of the ball being thrown. The shot put, being put.
Yeah,
put. If that makes sense. Because like you got this, so the momentum and the force generated from the body in relation to the ball is going to result in a larger trajectory.
See, a lot of those people would technically be or all of them would be
obese.
Yeah, scientifically obese, overweight.
Yeah.
But like, it's such complicated. It's like, but a lot of those are fitter than.
Yeah.
Would you say fitter? Like
they're fitter at shot put.
Yeah, well that's the thing, right? It's such a broad term. Like you're fitter at something. Like they're fitter at shot put or like strength than I am at strength.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm more endurance. You know, it's a weird thing. Like, are they unhealthy?
Yeah, they probably are. Like like let's say like linebackers in the NFL. Like those guys are fat and strong, but like I don't think having like a huge amount of body fat's going to be so healthy for you.
Yeah.
You can perform really well in that role, but in the long term, is that healthy? Probably not.
Yeah.
But you can be a well performing athlete with that size. Like let's say like the world's strongest men.
Yeah.
Like those guys are big.
Yeah.
Huge dudes, muscular, very strong, but also have a lot of fat, and it's probably very unhealthy for the amount they eat and how big they are.
See, that's another thing. Like, how much can like the world's strongest man lift?
So
what is it like?
It depends upon the lift.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So let's say
deadlift.
Let's say deadlift, because that's our most famous one.
It's over 500 kilos.
See, that's correct, right? So it's 500 kilos. So what can the average person deadlift? Would you say? Let's say the average man.
Like average man.
What is like 60?
I reckon just your average run-of-the-mill Joe that doesn't exercise.
Yeah.
I reckon straight up, if they're brand new, like they could probably barely deadlift their body weight.
Really?
Per person, I reckon.
So like,
because deadlifting like takes a bit of time and technique, and
I guess that's fair.
And if you're not training at all.
So would you say? Between like around 60?
But if they weighed 60 kilos, I reckon they could lift 60 kilos.
So what's that? That's almost. And what was the most again?
It's over 500 kilos.
So it's about 10 times.
Yeah.
Right. So like 10 times the average person. But it's funny with running. It's the difference between average and best is like almost way more infinite times.
It's astronomical.
It's astronomical, because I was thinking about this the other day when running. It's like even the difference between me, who's not an average Joe running, obviously I'm not like the best, but I don't know what average, whatever.
Yeah.
But let's say the difference between the person that like barely runs and Chipotle, you know, the best, way bigger difference than like the world's best deadlifter and the average person. Way bigger difference. Is crazy. But like that muscle that you can't even see.
Yeah.
You know.
But with sprinting, like the difference is milliseconds.
True. Yeah, that's true.
But it makes a big difference when you're on the track.
And I guess you could say that it's the same with deadlifting as well. Like the difference between 50 and 5.
Like when you get up to those weights, like 400 and 2.5. Like
those are all big. Like I guess you could say like you could put it down into even like grams and all that sort of stuff.
Like
it's a big difference.
Like with Olympic lifting, when I started like giving go like snatching and stuff, like adding like 1 kilo fucking changes everything.
Everything,
Because like you just don't realize how like difficult it is. Because you can't just jump a huge weight. Like in deadlifting, I could chuck on 25, do it, and like that's fine. But with Olympic lifting, you have to go real, for me, incremental, because it just feels so different.
Yeah.
because you're throwing weight in the air. But yeah, it's probably the same with deadlifting at that level. That's a high level deadlift.
Yeah, no,
and like they also like there's some weird competitions like Atlas stones where you're lifting stones up that are like.
I've seen that stone lifting thing like they lift those big boulder thingies.
Yeah. I was gonna buy one of those.
Oh really?
Well, you can buy like a mold for them.
A mold.
Yeah, so you can actually just remake them over and over again if they break.
Oh, what? And like put your own amount of weight.
Cement. So they're calculated to a size that will actually weigh the amount that it will. Like,
I see.
It would be a different diameter, so it'll end up resulting in like a heavier or lighter stone depending on the size.
Yeah.
So I want to give it a go.
Yeah.
Which I think would be awesome. Of which it's interesting. I just find all that sort of shit pretty interesting. I just find like all these different aspects that's pretty cool.
Same.
What if like with all that as well? You're talking a lot about like the psychology. I've been like thinking a lot about the psychology of sport, or like exercise. Because recently, like with like my sports, I don't find it's my fitness that's letting me down in my sports. It's actually my mind.
Same.
Like for footy, like I'm fit enough to play footy. I'm just mentally not able to play footy at times. Yeah, or like with running, like with pace work, you're like, oh, I could have gone faster, but I didn't let myself because there's something that's restricting me, or like, you know.
It's it even gets to the point like where it's hard because like it's mental and it's also like, but then like your things in life also dictate like your mental health and
But you also have a way of controlling it yourself though. That's
you do it. It's really hard to decide whether it's like, oh yeah, I felt this way and like, you know, I tried my best but I still felt this way.
Yeah.
And nothing was going to change that. Or you could also have been like, oh well, I could have sort of just made myself be in a better mindset that I know would have benefited me more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're running, it's always better to be in a positive mindset, and more like calculating mindset where you're thinking about how you're running and what pace you should be going.
But that's for like training.
Yeah, for training. Well, I guess exactly for training.
Yeah.
And all that sort of stuff. It's obvious. Like everyone knows it's better to be in a better mindset.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just don't. Like sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm feeling really shitty today. Like I'm probably gonna, you know, it's like for me. Sometimes it's like, oh, I feel it's so cold today. You know, yesterday was a shit run. Like I felt like I was running with cement in my shoes.
Yeah.
Like today, and I was running. I felt like I was running fast, but I was running slow. So today it's probably going to be even worse.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes that can get into your mind. But I try and always remember times where I felt like that.
Yeah.
But instead, like there was a run, and this was only like a week ago where I went out and I was so close to pulling out of the run. Like just like definitely did not want to go. I was like, fucked, you know. It's like, it was a morning run, and I went, and it was one of I felt so good running, like so good, like that I was flying, and not only that, but when I finished, I felt like I had so much energy left in the tank, and I was like, man, if I didn't go on that run, like I wouldn't, like that's crazy. I just would have still been here thinking that the run would have been shit.
Yeah.
So every time I try and run, I try and think, okay, well, you know, like I always try and have a super positive and unrealistically positive mindset, if that makes sense, to the point where it's like it's stupid. It's like, so like if I need to go to the toilet, in my mind I'm thinking, I just try and think that it's not even real.
Yeah.
It sounds dumb.
Try to trick yourself.
Yeah.
So these are your hot tips for yourself.
These are my hot tips, and I'm not saying they work 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like oh fuck, I can eat like a pizza and then go out and then I use my mind tricks and I don't actually need to take a shit.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's like a very mild version of that, to where like if I sort of feel like I need to go to the toilet if I'm running, I just try and think, you know, everyone has like different things they think in their mind. Just try and think, okay, no, it's, you know, it's not real. You know, it's like it's fine. Like I've ran before and I've had this same feeling and I haven't shit myself. I'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like you just. The one thing I try and think of is there's no point in thinking negatively or thinking bad. You know what I mean? I always think like there's just no point in going back. Like when something bad happens, I always think, like for example, you know how if someone loses at a game, they'll like throw their controller. You know what I mean? They'll get angry and throw their controller. I've never been one of those people because it's always more likely, well, I'm not going to throw my controller because then I'm going to buy new controller and, you know, all this shit, and I want to get better at the game, I'm going to play. So I always try and think positive in that retrospect, that there's no point in thinking negative, because it just makes things worse.
Yeah.
All the time, I'd rather just think, okay, no, I'm... And another thing that happens to me a lot of the time when running, I don't know if it happens to you, but like, let's say like 3Ks into a session, I'll feel shit and my breathing will sort of feel shit, but then maybe like half a K in or a K in, I'll feel like I'm flying again for a bit, and then it'll sort of
go on waves. Yeah, there seems to be waves.
Yeah, it seems to be waves. So I also use that. I use any sort of good trick, good memories that I've had running previously, where like either good runs, bad runs have turned out to be good, or a run that I thought was going to be bad turned out to be good. I try and think every possible thing that could be positive, could turn positive, like when I'm running.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it helps. Because if I think that things are going to go, I think there's that whole thing that usually when you do something, and you think negative things are going to happen, you actually tend to trick yourself into doing them.
Yeah.
I don't know how real it is, but I know for me personally, it tends to happen with a lot of things I do. Or it used to. Like, if I used to be like, fuck, I'm not good at this shit, and then go into it and always be like, oh, I've never been good at this, you would almost cause yourself...
You manifest it yourself.
Yeah, you manifest it yourself. But if you go into something thinking, fuck, I'm the best in the world, you know what I mean? You're going to do way better, because it's almost like your mind's like, oh, okay, well, you think you're the best in the world, mate, you know? Yeah. It's like the placebo effect. Almost,
you trick yourself.
Yeah, you trick yourself. Which I feel like helps so much. Like, as you said, running is such a big mental game, you know? Like, it's massive, and you really need to remind yourself of, like, your bests, I think. Yeah. And, like, and just, like, keep positive, I think. Yeah. And also, like, just... Yeah, I don't know, what about you? Do you have like any, or even with like gym work or anything that you think of?
I'm
like,
working on it.
You
are? With gym and like my personal exercise like that, like that's something that I don't need much assistance with. My thing is like, when I'm putting like athletic action like into sport, like with footy, like that's the main thing, that's been holding me back recently, because like, I train a lot and I practice a lot. I'm trying to like improve, and like when I'm by myself practicing, my kicking's good, my skills are good. But as soon as I'm like in like a space against others in the public eye, they just go away. Like everything just drops. And I realized when I'm like that, I realize that I'm really in my own head when I'm in that moment, because I'm paying attention to all these things.
Dude, I could not relate more. And not only I do that. Obviously not with footy, because I don't play footy, but just with other things in general. Yeah. At work, if I'm by myself, for example, if like someone says, someone's computer's messed up, they have a problem, I'll go into their computer and I'm trying to solve it while they're looking at it, for example. If I have a better time solving a problem when someone's, you know, when a lot of people aren't watching me or performing in anything, right, researching something, solving a problem, anything, just in anything. If it's just like some weird anxiety where you think, and I think what it is what you was just saying before, which you stop thinking about what you're trying to do and you think more about the people watching. Yeah. So it's almost like, instead of your brain power, usually when you're by yourself, it's 100% going into the problem you're having, or you know, the sport you're doing. It's now all that shifts directly into the people that you're thinking about that are watching you. Yeah. And that's something I've actually really been working on recently. Because I do it when I run, like I told you this a couple times, when I run down Deacon, like I'm constantly thinking people watching me, like if I'm running slow, like are they thinking, oh, this guy's running slow? Yeah. And I try and just think so often like, oh, these people, either they don't exist or like I just don't care about them. And I think that's almost like a mind muscle in itself to build, of just not thinking, not caring about these people. Yeah.
What's that thing from Friends? Unagi?
Yeah, unagi.
Unagi.
Yeah.
The eel sushi. But the trick I found, like I'm slowly working on, it's very difficult for me to work on it, because like it involves me becoming pretty like it's like egotistical, kind of like becoming a bit of a cunt.
Yeah. Like 100% continue, but I agree. Yeah. Like, you have to have like super confidence.
Yeah, you have to be
better
like
than people, right?
Like, because you're like for me, like, I'll think to myself, like, I'd make up a story about the guy next to me.
Yeah.
Like, this guy has not put any work.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
exactly.
you think like that. You're like, I'm not gonna let this guy beat me. You're like, you know, because I've put so much work in and I'm much fitter, you know, all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Which I hate that sort of thing, but like, it has to be done because then all of a sudden my performance improves.
Yeah.
When I do that, but it's like very hard for me to hold that mindset the entire time.
Yeah.
Because then it drops from like, then I just start paying attention to things like, because it's just such a dynamic game.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to make sure that like I can keep in that zone, like trying to find the zone and focus on like just being confident in myself in that time. Yeah. And even if that means I have to be a bit of a cunt in the meantime. Sorry for the French. As you're saying, sorry.
Yeah, dude, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I find what helps with that is, sometimes I try and think back to moments in life where it sounds weird, but it's like where there have been people that I've always been like, oh, this is someone I've had like a lot of respect for, and then like through time I found, this person actually either they've done something, or I know they've done something. I'm like, well, this person is just like, it's not maybe about me losing respect for them, but it's more like, oh, this person is like a human like me. You know, they've made worse mistakes than I have, or what they've got, they've been given. You know, they haven't worked hard for it. So I constantly, what I try and think of is whenever I'm doing something, I try and think of people like that, and then I try and imagine that every single person is like that.
Yeah.
And it is straight ego thing.
Yeah.
And it's a God complex.
Yeah.
And it's not something I actually believe, but it's something I like.
Tap into.
You have to tap into to perform. Like unless you're someone that's really just like doesn't have any anxiety or doesn't think about that stuff. I feel like it's something that is important to use where you just even if you know it's not true, you have to be like, well, look, these people are just, they're nothing. You know, I'm better than them. You know what I mean? Or like, and you have to even remind yourself when you stuff up. So like I don't know if you're running and then like you've been thinking that or whatever you've been running and you're going for a 5k PB and you're 2k's in and you're like, oh shit, I'm way behind.
Yeah.
You still have to keep thinking that you're better than them.
Yeah.
Even when you're doing bad as well, which is also hard.
Yeah.
Because it's just the best thing to do, because if you think you're shit, you're gonna
perform shit.
You're gonna perform shit.
Yeah, it's just like, it's the hardest. It's like a weird balance because like you're not fully convinced of it, but like at the same time you're like, you know, trying to convince yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be like, fuck you, fuck this guy, fuck that dude. Just amping you up. Or like, even like if it's doing it by yourself, you're like, fucking come on, this, you piece of shit. Like, you just like motivate yourself like that.
You know, when I was watching the what's his name, Lance Armstrong.
Yeah.
The cyclist dude.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said, which sort of stuck with me, is she said at the beginning of a race, he used to see all these people. I don't know if he was talking specifically about Europeans.
Yeah.
He was like, they're all talking with each other and all like, you know, like making conversation. He was like, but he was like, he didn't understand, because what he would always do is he would say, I think the quote he used was get his hate on, is what he said. So basically just make himself really hateful against these people. Yeah. He would think he was saying the exact same stuff we were just saying now, where he would hate these people he was competing against because it would give him that drive. Yeah. And even Mon, actually, she said the same thing used to happen. She used to get like sort of amped up before a race, like you know, to the point where you get really, you know, adrenaline and so it's because like I find when I'm running and I think of something that this is, I guess it's a bit different than like God complex or ego, but this is another thing that helps, is like getting that adrenaline and thinking about something that you really don't like. Yeah. That you actually hate, or if it's a person or something, it gives you, it's like this weird untapped thing. Yeah. I know what it is, man, but it gives you like some weird adrenaline that, and not only does it give you adrenaline and makes you fast, but when you're thinking of it, you're also not thinking about the energy you're using to run. Yeah. So it's like a double. It's like it's good in both ways. You know, you're going really fast, and you're not even thinking or feeling that you're going like about the energy you're using. Yeah. It's so crazy because when you think of doing exercise, you don't think of all these mental things that go into it. And another thing is, I don't know about you, but usually when I exercise, and if you've got something going on, sometimes do you ever feel like, oh, I can't be bothered exercising because you've got something going on?
Yeah.
But usually when you go out to exercise, that sort of usually goes away anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, with the exercising thing, like, it depends, like, you know, I think I'm actually addicted to exercise.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know what you mean, because I sort of am too.
Yeah.
Because I just love the way it makes you feel and stuff.
You feel good. You like to see those improvements, because the improvements are tangible. They're tangible. You can see the improvements.
Yeah.
And working for it, because it's not easy. It's a good feeling. But some days, it depends. Usually it's when I have to put in really fucking my hard days. The fucking it's afterwards. You're like, oh, yeah, good. Or you feel like that was a good performance.
Yeah.
The best, let's say you do a good, high intensity, session, jiu-jitsu, whatever, you just feel like $1 million because you're like, fuck, that was good, and I smashed it.
Yeah.
You know, you feel amazing after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, the build-up to it's the hardest part for that
It
stuff.
It is.
We were talking about that the other morning, or, the hardest part is the pace work.
Yeah.
You're just fuck, it's just... I don't know if I'm going to do well. You have all these doubts all of a sudden. Because you're like, oh, I'm going to feel horrible.
It's weird. I know. And the funny thing is, never ever once has me been thinking about it ever led to me wanting to do it more.
Yeah.
It's usually what happens is I won't be thinking about it, or I don't know, I'll get up in the morning and my mind will just be on something completely different. And then when it's time to run, I'll run.
Yeah.
And then by 1K in, I'm not in the zone where it's I'm more in the zone where I'm okay, I'm running.
Yeah.
I'm in the zone. I'm here to run. There's nothing else I'm gonna do but run. I don't have to worry about anything else. And that's what I try and do. Because I was telling Mon this, I was like, if I'm in bed and my alarm goes off and I think, oh, I've got to get out and I've got to run straight away. It's so much harder to get out of bed than it is thinking, oh, my alarm's on, I've got to get up. I can get up, oh, the heater's out there.
Yeah.
I can get up and cuddle next to the heater and get really, get warm, make a coffee. It's much easier to get up and do that than it is to be like, okay, I'm going to get up and run. Or I've got a massive session, and then the whole time just thinking, fuck, I got to do my warm up, and then I got to do my session, and then I got to do my warm down, and then I got to go to work. You know, and that's the things, people can think like this. Yeah. And people will use these excuses, and obviously I'll be lying if I said I never thought like that myself. But comes down to it, you just can't think like that. Yeah.
Well, what's that? There's a quote that I heard today that actually fits into that. It was the person who just enjoys the walking is more likely to walk further than the man looking for the destination.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're looking at the destination, not the journey.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing, you have to learn to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same with everything. There are ways you can think in life that will make your life better without even changing your life. Yeah. Right? You could, if you have a really bad car, I mean, this is obviously, it's all perspective, right? You feel well, I have a really shitty car, or you have a really shitty job, I have a really shitty job. Yeah. And you can think at least you have a job, at least you have a car. You know what I mean? You get to have these things, you can enjoy them. It's easy to say, but I mean, that's just a very basic example, but you know what I mean? As you just said, if you go out to run and you're not oh, fuck, running shit, and you're more oh, dude, I know I'm gonna feel good at the end of the run, or I know gonna feel good in the middle of my run, or anything like that. It's much better.
I got a phone call. It's okay. That's mine.
Hey Mum, how's it going? Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, would I be able to give you a call back in later tonight? Sorry, I'm just busy at the moment. Alright, no worries, thanks Mum. Bye, I love you, bye.
Oh, shepherd's pie.
Yeah,
it sounds good as.
We had some for lunch yesterday, it's actually pretty nice.
Awesome. That sounds real good. Where were we? You were talking about the journey.
Yeah, the journey, yeah. So I agree, dude. It's much, and that's, you got to, I mean, obviously it's not everyone's going to enjoy everything, if I was, bloody doing slave labour all day, it's not like I'm going to be, I'm going to enjoy being a slave all day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just the best way to do things. Not to not whinge about everything you do, I guess. To make things, everything can be a lot more enjoyable than you make it out to be.
Like, that's the thing is, like, I think, like, a lot of the time, when people are miserable, with their lives, it's because they have a lot of hope. Like, it's said, like this is sort of like how the Stoics would look at it, like, not like the old school, like, you know, that weird macho man Stoic. Actual Roman Stoics and the Greek. I think they were Greeks as well. I can't remember. But like, the reason why a lot of people get disappointed in like their jobs and all that is because they put a lot of hope that there's something more, or like, you know, that's going to lead to something.
Yeah.
Whereas if you if you don't look forward to anything, then you have no chance of being disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't I don't expect myself to do well in anything.
Yeah.
But if I have that perspective as well, it also, like, if I do bad, doesn't really affect me as much.
Yeah.
Which I can't do all the time because it's nearly impossible for the psyche.
Yeah.
But like, well, for me anyway. But like, let's say, you know, I give up hope in the fact that I won't be a millionaire.
Yeah.
So if I don't become a millionaire.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you were always hoping that you're going to become a millionaire, like if you're like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to become a millionaire, like you're always going to be disappointed.
Then it doesn't happen.
Exactly.
And that's what happens to a lot of people is that they're like, oh, I'm so excited, this is going to happen, then it doesn't happen, and they're let down, and they got like this, this huge rush of like, you know, endorphins and happiness, it's coming, but nothing comes.
And that's the thing, sometimes there are people that have, I 100% agree, sometimes there are people that have that, and either they're always really hopeful and all that stuff, and like, you know, that comes up, or they're always like, oh, nothing's ever going to work out for me, or, you know, this is just going to be shit. Where it's more like you just need to accept just things are the way they are. Yeah. You know, it is what it is. You know exactly what I mean? Right. That's literally the best thing you can do, because either something bad happens and you can just sulk about it all the time, or something bad happens and you can think about why did that happen, like, you know, like improve, you know, you know what I mean? Like, and it's as I said, like, there's people that think in those sort of two different areas where it's more like, sometimes shit happens, you know. I could go home and get in a car accident and be paralysed for the rest of my life, you know.
But if it doesn't happen, it's a good thing.
And if that happens, chances are the best thing for me to do is to move on with my life and not to just sulk that you know, about all the things that could have been, right? And it's also not good for me to be like, oh, okay, man, I'm going to win the lotto tomorrow. You know, because imagine if I was really hopeful that I'm going to win $20 million. Can you imagine? I'll be like, I'm crazy excited. But you don't want to do that. You want to have, you just want to be realistic about things.
Exactly. Like, because like, what does it lead into? What was I going to say? There's the hope, and then there's that, hope. What else? There was something else about hope there. It wasn't hope. It was just about enjoying, like, it's all about that enjoying the process aspect of it. It's like, I've lost the train of thought. It was there. And it, like, one of the things that, like, occasionally gives me a boost is to realise that I will die. Yeah. Like, that's a very strong motivator.
And realising that the time is definitely, like,
against you,
and it's something, especially in your 20s, it's very very important. And it's very valuable. And knowing that, like, you have certain stages of your life where you can't do these things again. And that eventually you just won't do it anymore. You know, it's important.
I won't be able to. Well, I probably could at that age, but like, there'll be things I won't be able to do when I'm older. Like right now, like, I have to commit to these things now because there won't be an opportunity like this again because I'm this age, this time, and this is And so, like, even though you do have a short amount of time, if you do fill it with like goals and like things to do, like your days feel like a week. Like it's insane, like how it feels. Like when I went for a trip to Sean to Melbourne, like we filled our day with a shit ton of stuff. And by the end of the day, we felt like we lived 4 days in one day because we did so much.
It's crazy how much, like, you can actually get done in a short period of time, and it's crazy how much, like, a lot of times, I mean, I guess wasted, but, like, you know, things you could be doing. Like, most of my days are actually very, very, like, just busy. Like, I'll probably have, like, I reckon maybe an hour of free. And when I say free time, I mean like I'm just there and I can do whatever I want.
Just being.
I'm just being. I usually I'll play games or watch a movie or something. But other than that, all of my days are just packed.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily doing interesting shit. Most of it's just work.
Yeah.
My weekends are usually pretty free, but even then, like a lot of the time, like I'm spending time with either sides of the family, or there's like an appointment I have to go to, or like something's on or something like that, or I have to help Mon with her bloody uni work. Like most of the time I'm busy, but you really can get a lot done in a short period of time.
Because that makes me like think about it when you talk about death and all that sort of stuff. You're gonna die, but like when you really take it seriously and try to build the habits to like schedule your day, you get a lot done. Yeah. Like with running, like you can do a half an hour run, shower, get dressed, and you can do all that within like 40 minutes. Yeah. And then you have. Yeah, you can do so much with your day. Like when you hear a lot of people say they don't have the time, you haven't made the time.
Oh, 100%. Every person has the time to exercise, no matter what, because every person at least has. Oh, I mean, you can exercise as long as you have 30 minutes. You can do it. Yeah. Right, because as you said, like even 15 minutes of exercise.
You can do 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. But see, a lot of people, the way they have it in their head is usually the people that are in these depressive. I mean, I could be wrong. But a lot of these people, because I was like this once, it's usually like, I don't want to do it if I'm not like, doing a lot at once, or they want sudden changes. Yeah. Like they want to be like, the next morning, I did this, a lot, sudden changes, sudden results sort of things. They don't want to be like, I'm not going to exercise for 5 minutes. That's stupid.
It's because they're not into the journey, man.
Yeah, well,
they're looking at the destination.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. That's
full circle,
dude.
It's all relative.
It's all relative, dude. It all leads back to itself.
Well, like the one thing that pisses me off, annoys me a little bit because the logic's inconsistent. Like people who like want to try jiu-jitsu, and they'll be like, I'd love to come to jiu-jitsu, but I'm not fit enough. I think I should get fit first. Yeah. No, you go to jiu-jitsu to get fit. Yeah. Like, I don't like I haven't been going that often. Because of other commitments and interests at the moment. But, like, those sort of people who, like, have that sort of backwards thinking about it all is where the thinking is the issue. Yeah. Like, the perspective is the issue. No. Yeah, well, look, people can do whatever they want. They can live their lives the way they want. If they live their lives that way, they can. Like, so with your future, like with all your running, are you reckon you're going to stick with running for your lifetime? Are you going to try to pursue anything else? Or?
I'll say this, I'm definitely going to stick with at least running, I think, I want to stick to it for at least, as long as I can. Yeah. If I'm going to maybe, hopefully, eventually take up, I think cycling maybe, then swimming.
Yeah, do some triathlon stuff.
That's my very end goal. But running just because I'm already so into it, and it's another good thing just being into one sport like running. Like it's not just exercise you do. It's like, well, you're also into the whole mental side of it. You're also into the whole diet side of it. Yeah. You're also into the whole running cultural thing. Yeah. People involved in it. The shoes you wear, all that sort of stuff. That's what I like about it. It's like a hobby, and it's something to do. You have to be doing something. Like you can't just do. Like I like it because it's something you do. It's something you can get involved in. It's something you can have. It's like talk about. Something that's you're involved in. I don't know. It's a cool thing I like, but triathlon end goal for sure. Yeah. Awesome. And. Yeah, it would be cool because I would like for eventually my kid to run. Yeah. I always thought it would be cool. Yeah. Mom thought the same thing, obviously, 'cause she used to run as a kid. Yeah. So that's why I would like to eventually teach my kid to run. Yeah. And that's why I want to keep running, keep getting better. Yeah. And then eventually I can do that. So
yeah. Hell yeah.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
But that's my
long-term goal for what you're doing.
Yeah. And I guess 2 half marathons and a marathon is my yearly goal. Yeah. And then next year I've no idea.
Next. Awesome. I like it.
What about you?
I've been thinking about this because the thing is when you could be very specific and go into specific sports, but I'd get so bored with just doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I'm interested in a broad range of activities, and I want to get as good as I can while doing everything else.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to think of it, I want to get as fit as I can.
Yeah.
So meaning, like, fit at, like, lifting weights, fit at running, fit at, like, you know, I won't be the best, but I'll be the fittest I can be. Like, personally, like, my personal self.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'll continue with, like, things like, like the moment, I really want to get better at AFL. Like, I think I have potential to play very well as long as I get my psychology in the right place, like now.
Yeah.
Like, and I want to see how good I can get, because I reckon I have the potential to play very well.
And usually if you do, and usually if you really want to, that's what gives you, if you really want something, like you'll usually do it.
Yeah, I'm very...
So it's a...
Yeah, I've been planning out my weeks to do it all, so, like, I'm very fucking fixated on that. So, like, I'm going to give myself... Like, I'm going to give myself 10 years for AFL, right? Yeah. It's just as a winter sport to play. But, like, for my general fitness, I'll be working on fucking everything.
Yeah.
And maybe I've been thinking, well, I just did a CrossFit class today.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do, like, in the summertime, do a CrossFit, like, competition or something.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's essentially what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, I just do CrossFit.
All the different exercises and stuff.
Just at different times. I just don't do them together, which I could probably do that and just do it as an event.
Yeah.
If we want to talk about competition. But, like, that's my goal. Just get as fit as I can.
Yeah.
In everything. And improve in the sport at the moment that I'm obsessed with. But
see, I think I would be very interested in probably doing very similar. Probably not as wide as, because obviously your scope is pretty much everything, but, like, obviously, like, different stuff and everything, because that sounds fun as fuck.
Yeah.
But
you're always learning.
It's exactly, right? Yeah. Like, it's always something new that you can talk about, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. I love that shit. But what I am interested in is I would like to be, like, semi-good at one thing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I could be. So I always have a
specialist.
Like a special. Like, once I'm a specialist. So, like, I have certain boxes I want to tick, right? So one is specialist at running. Yeah. I'm not going to be the next bloody, like, you know, competitor, but, like. Yeah. Like, you know, to the point where you're not considered elite, but you consider, oh, wow, that's, like, definitely advanced, you know, like, I like maybe like a 1:20, like, half marathon time, where you think, like, damn, like, pretty good. So something around that, and then, like, obviously, say I've done a marathon, and then say I've done a triathlon, and then those are like my three, like, you break it down boxes, so, like, you know, very, very good PBs, and then marathon, and then triathlon. Yeah. When like a triathlon though, I still don't know how much effort it would take to get good at swimming and cycling. Like, I don't know if it's...
I'll do it with you. Dude, I'm shit at swimming.
I'd be down, dude. Like, I'd be down to even start trying that next year. Yeah. Like, picking up, like, swimming or cycling next year. Yeah. And even, like, both at the same time.
I could do swimming with you next year. I cycle all the time. I can cycle with you too.
I would like to do that, because I'm thinking by the end of this year, I will definitely be... like, pretty fit to the point where hopefully picking something like that up will be a lot easier.
Swimming's exhausting.
I've never been good at swimming.
And also, like, being a skinny guy like me, you'll sink like a rock.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's just, like, keeping yourself afloat so hard.
I know, and you know what's crazy? It's funny. When's the last time you swam?
Last summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I guess, like, honestly, the same with me. Yeah. But, I mean, like, did you actually, like swim?
Yeah, swim. Oh, okay. I did, like, I went down to do a couple laps to see if I wanted to do, like, this fundraiser thing. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Fuck man. Like, just for that long period of time, like, I need to consistently work at this for a long period of time to get good at it.
I was in Scott's pool, I reckon, last summer. I was trying to, like, I probably was doing it. Like,
did you hip sync?
Yeah, I was exactly what I said. I was like, what the hell am I sinking as? Like, I'm freestyling on it. I was like, because being like big kid, you'll know the same thing. You don't really like sink when you're fat, right? You're used to that. Buoyant. You just buoyant, but when you're thinner, you just sink while you swim. I was like, this is so weird. Like, it's like, am I doing something wrong? Yeah, no. But yeah, apparently it's
a common problem with triathletes, male triathletes.
You get actually as a swimmer, you get pretty built as a swimmer, don't you?
Yeah, upper body for sure.
Yeah.
Because most of your work's upper body, unless you're like sprints.
Oh, yeah.
Because that'd be whole body. But, like, yeah, you'll see a lot of upper body strength. Like, Oh, dude, there's this guy called Ross Edgley. He is like one of my inspirations. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah.
He swam around the circumference of Great Britain.
Jeez.
And like his legs were just like not worked at all. He just used his upper body the entire time.
Really?
Dude, this man's jacked. He's huge. Yeah.
So you would have cycling where like it's all like pretty much all your legs.
Yeah.
Swimming where it's like your upper body, and then running where it's like
impact lower body.
Yeah.
And cardiovascular.
Yeah.
But triathletes are fucking good shape.
Yeah.
Very good shape. Yeah.
And then
you can eat all the pizza you want too.
I've
actually watched the diet of some triathletes. You can eat so much fucking food. Like some of their training weeks, like really long weeks, they're burning like fuck ton of calories, like 6,000 calories are just going down.
I think I had I had tacos at the after my half marathon when I drove when I drove home. I went to the in-laws place and they made tacos, and I think I had like 3 or 4. And I had some dim sims along the way and Coke, but I was there's nothing tastes better than eating that after a marathon. It's fucking good.
Awesome. It's a good feeling.
It is a really.
I can't remember what I had after my. I had bacon and eggs on toast. It was so good. And then what did I have for dinner? Oh, it was the worst pre-race meal. Was fucking fish and chips.
Yeah, I heard you say.
It's so greasy. I can't believe we fucking did that. And then what did we have for dinner? Oh, we went to a fancy restaurant for dinner. Like, it was expensive. It was a really nice restaurant.
Wait, was that after the
whole run? Yeah, we did a lot that day. We woke up at like 6, did the half marathon, went to breakfast, explored Port Fairy, had dinner, and then woke up again, went to the beach, and went home.
Didn't fuck around.
No, we did. We did so much fucking shit. Like, it was insane.
That's the best way to do trips, though. Is to use all your time. Doing something. Pack it. Get as much in as possible.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was insane.
See, I think for my pre-race meal was a 2 sandwich. I think they were chicken. It was either chicken schnitzel or something.
Is it some sort of fried chicken?
No, maybe it was like crumbed or something. I forget. But it was the worst sandwiches ever. And the annoying thing is when I booked into the hotel, it was funny because it wasn't really a hotel. It was like a bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
So there were only like 3 rooms in the whole place.
Yeah.
And all of them were just us doing Barossa Valley. The other 2 people. And the lady was like, when I checked in, she was like, "Oh, are you going to be having any dinner tonight?" And I was like, "No, I'll be right." I was like, "Probably just get something from the servo."
Yeah.
And the best thing I could see there were those 2 sandwiches. I got those and a donut. It was the weirdest pre-race bloody meal of all time. And it was shit. I mean, I felt good afterwards, so I guess it did the job. But and then it was funny because the guy next to me, it was this like 70-year-old. He was an older man, very, very much older, like I'd say 60s, and he was actually pretty nice. I was about to go at like 6:50, and he came out, and he was like, "Oh, could you give me a lift to Barossa?" And he asked me if I was doing it first. I was like, "Sure, man, no worries." I was like, he was doing the marathon, which started like 30 minutes before the half marathon. But he was really nice. Apparently, he was from bloody New Zealand.
Yeah.
And he was doing another marathon that same week in Adelaide or something.
Awesome.
He was awesome. And he'd done previous ones before.
Yeah.
His name was Ronald, and it was the only dude I met in Barossa. Because I was
Barossa.
Yeah. He was a cool dude.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was like, wow. Yeah, I was talking to him this morning. I was like, how the hell is this guy gonna have a bloody lift there? And I told Mom that if I get killed, that it was this old dude from room number 1 of my hotel, because I was like, it's a bit suspicious. I don't want to get bloody murdered at 7 a.m. Yeah, 7 a.m. in the morning, murdered before I even do. I was like, of course I can't even do I'm going to get killed before I even do my first time. But not my luck. Bloody murdered by some elderly Asian gentleman. Yeah. But no, it was good. Sure. He was cool, man.
On that note, do you want to leave it here?
Yeah.
That sounds good. Thanks for coming on.
That's right. We did some good chatting.
It was actually good, wasn't it? I actually fucking... No, it's not going to connect now. Never mind.